Hi, Dina. Alan.
How are you? How are you?
Good. Another good game tonight, right? You watch the other game?
Yeah, a little bit of it. My goodness, I couldn't believe it. I turned it off when the 2 minutes after Buffalo gave it up, and then after that, I turn it back on, and I see so many points were scored in the last 2 minutes.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, this guy, the Kansas City quarterback, he's amazing.
You can't tackle the guy. He's so slippery, and then he's accurate. Yeah.
Wow,
he's
it's
excellent.
gonna be good. Sure. I like Rams to play. They'll probably play Kansas City, huh? The Rams will probably play Kansas City.
Kansas City. No,
they'll play in the Super Bowl because.
Oh, in the Super Bowl, yeah, that's something. Looks that way, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Rams will beat San Francisco. They're playing here in L.A.
They should beat them. They should. On paper, they're a much better team.
Yeah, and I think Kansas City will beat Cincinnati. I think,
Cincinnati just got kind of lucky to go that far. I don't see that being that good.
Right. Okay, no, whatever. Oh well, crazy.
I have no money either way.
Yeah. Hold on. If you're gonna make money that way, I think you're better off just keeping it.
Right.
You got to earn it the old-fashioned way. You don't work at it.
What's work?
Crazy. Yeah, what's work? Right. Yeah. Oh well, we got a big problem in my warehouse. I mean, keep them breaking in every night and stealing merchandise. I don't know how they get in. We locked all the doors and everything.
Yeah, but they're poor people. They didn't have a good mother at home. You should feel bad for them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This guy that killed the girl, on La Brea. The mother, the aunt said, "Oh, he was such a good boy. He was such a good boy."
I don't understand. It's like nothing makes sense anymore. Bad is. I saw in Milwaukee, they have a lot of car thefts. They're stealing cars out of lots, and most of them were Korean cars, Kia and something else. So the city councilman Schwartz's, they want to sue the car manufacturer for making the cars too easy to steal.
Oh my goodness!
Serious.
Yeah, wonderful.
Suing the manufacturer because,
isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. You have cameras. You have cameras around the warehouse.
So upside down.
You have
cameras. No, we're going to get them now. A little late, but no. We're going to get him in then. But they did. When they caught the guy a few weeks ago, the police happened to come by. They caught him in the middle of the night. So they had the trial, and they pleaded guilty. So the judge is going to sentence them Meanwhile, they're out on bail. The sentence is going to sentence them so what to do. Meanwhile, they're not in jail anymore. They're out. So they've been coming back, and I guess they tell all their friends come. I don't know what the story is. My grandson is supposed to be involved with that, taking it, but they pleaded guilty. So what if they pleaded guilty? So they just keep coming back. It's crazy.
Yeah, they don't. They feel bad for them. It doesn't look right that so many minorities are in jail. Well, stop committing the crimes.
Yeah. I think what's his name? That black basketball player for the Lakers. James. He says he's such a moron.
Loser.
Loser. Yeah. We had quite a big minyan tonight for Mincha. Who all those people there?
No, a lot of kids, I guess, from out of town. They came for Yeshiva week.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
And there was a bar mitzvah in town, so a lot of people came for the bar mitzvah.
Oh, I see. That's probably right. Yeah.
There was like 3 bar mitzvahs in town.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well.
Yeah, we're supposed to have 8 o'clock tonight, right? That's
8 o'clock, as far as I know. Yeah, I learned the Daf. It's pretty good Daf. It's shouldn't go very quickly though.
Yeah, I didn't see any changes to the schedule.
No, I didn't see that either.
No.
Well. Hope his mother's okay. She's still in hospital. Yeah. Did you talk to Gerard today? Is he out?
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, he's staying at his daughter's house. He still has a few more days because of the COVID, but he sounded okay.
Sounded okay. That's good.
He can't be home at his house because his wife can't get sick again.
Wow. Yes, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's Ernie.
Okay, there's Ernie. Yeah. Okay, great.
Hi, Ernie.
Hi.
Nice haircut.
Thanks. We're on Yud Amud Aleph. 10. Moed Katan 10. I had Yoy Toifer Kedarko. The non-expert, there's seamstresses, and then there's someone who's just a balabos. So on Cholamoid, he can sew normally. Heichidami head yoy. What defines whether somebody's an expert or not? Someone who can take a needle and the whole length of a garment, use one needle in and out, and in one line, and have it look perfect. So that's a numen. That's an expert. Someone who cannot create a perfect seam, like a hem at the bottom of a garment. And if you are an umin, you can only machliv. My machliv, mafsiya. You don't, let's say it needs 10 stitches, you only do 5 stitches. Rabbi Shmuel Amar Shine Kalbasa, that you do a hem, not exactly straight, one high, one low. That's a shinui. Then Mesargin and Samitois. The Mishnah said you could fix the beds. My Mesargin or my Mamtich. What does this mean? That means you have a warp and a woof. You have some threads going this way and some threads going this way, and that's what you lay down as the bed. Matchin is you only do one direction, not both directions, not the warp and the woof. The other mandover says Mesargin means one direction. Matchin means you can't string it at all. It's only that if the strings were loose, you can tighten it. Okay, so based on this explanation, the Gemara says, it's not so. There's no machlokes, that you cannot string a bed lechatchila with ropes. So Bishmal Mandover Misargin Shesi ve'erev. The one who says Sirug is Shesi ve'erev, and Mamtichin is Shesi beloy erev. So Hainu the Tanur of Tachlifa Bar Shol v'Shavin Shem Avshin Chavan l'Chatchila. So that's why they both agree that you cannot string it l'Chatchila. Elman Domer Mesargin Shesi beloy erev, and Mematchin is only tightening it. Shemaya Ravoyam Hashta Shesi ve'erev Amrit. If you already told me you cannot tighten, warp, and a woof, so Chaval b'Chatchila boy. Is there any shaila that you can't string the bed for the beginning? Kasha. It remains a kasha. Is there a manda omer that holds mesargin is only one direction? A warp without a woof? Vatnan. Ramei omer. Hamita, you have a kli. The kli at some point is going to be makabel tumah. A kli is makabel tumah when it's a finished kli. When is a bed a finished kli? If you've done warp and a woof, 3 houses, 3 rows. So you see, everybody holds at a minimum, Sirug has to have Shesi and Erev. So Sirug requires Shesi and Erev according to everybody. What's the argument? Keep pligid in mamatchin by tightening. You can tighten in one direction. If only if the thing, both directions are loose, and you can tighten it. Meisvei. You can string a bed. Certainly, you can tighten. You can only tighten, but you cannot string. You can't do anything. So I understand that according to Mandoma that says mituch is shesi b'lo erev, hainu d'ashli yeshomim leiflugi. So you have a yeshomim that says you can't do anything. Elam b'lamanda Omar, who holds that mituch is haya rofim imatcha, that it's if it's loose you tighten it. So what do you mean? Yeshomim imatcha namilo. So the yeshomim says you can't even do that. What says in? You can't do anything. Kivin de efshel amadi b'mani. If you have a bed that needs tightening, don't tighten it. Fill it up with old shmatis, old clothes, so you lie on that on Cholamoin. And therefore, lo tarchinan, we don't do tirchi yisera for that. Mishnah. Mamidin tonav v'chirayim v'rechaim b'moed. You can set up an oven or a stovetop or a grinding millstone. They can all be set up on Cholamoin. Rav Yeroimer ein mekaptzis rechaim batchila, but you can't do kibush to the rechaim, which we don't know what that means. My mechaptzis, Rav Yeroimer min karechaya. A grinding millstone, if it gets smooth over time, it's not going to grind very well. So in order to make it rough, you have to make holes in it and ditches in it. So that's what's called kibush, according to Rav Yehuda. Rav Yechiel Omer Baseina. Rav Yechiel says that it's the hole on top in the stone that you pour in the grain, so it gets grinded. That's what kibush is. So the Gemara asks the question, Meitzvei. Mamidin tadnu v'krayim b'moed. You can set up a oven in a stove top of cholamoid, as long as you don't finish, there's no gemar malacha. There really isn't. The chachamim raf yigmar. Chachamim allow you to finish. Rav Yehuda Mishmo, mamidin sachadosha. A new oven or stovetop you could set up. Umechabshin esayishana. The old rechayim you could do chibush. The Yesh Oimim ein mechabshin kol ikr. The Yesh Oimim says you can't do the kibush. Now, Bishop of Mandam mechabshin min kerechayim. I understand, according to Mandama, that says kibush is making the bottom surface of the stone less smooth. Hainu de mishkachas lo b'yishana. So I understand you can have an older rechayim that has been used so much that the roughness has been smoothed out. Now it needs to be roughed up again. You can't have a rechaim without a hole in it to pour the grain. I mean, Yeshana Basein Lamale, an old one, why do you have to do it? Of course it has it. So the Gemara says, you have to enlarge the hole. It needs a rotor-rooter. The hole got smaller through debris or whatever, and now it has to be made larger so you can put the proper amount of grain inside. He heard about a person who did this activity to his grindstone on Cholamoid. Omer Manhai, who is this? He's being mechalal his body, that he's mechalal Cholamoid. Several Yeshomim. He holds like Yeshomim, they ain't mechapshin kolikar. Dorish Rav Chama, Noikr Nechaim b'moed. Rav Chama said you can make a hole in the millstone on Cholamoid. Mishum Rav Meir Omar, Afilu Susharochav Alav, even a horse that he rides, the Chamor Sharochav, a Chamor that he rides, Mutter Litol Tzipurnaim Chol HaShalmoid. You can cut their toenails on Cholamoid so that they won't have pain while they walk and you're riding them. Yudam Beis. Aval Chamora Derechaya. But the donkey that is used not to ride on, but is used to turn the grinding wheel, lo, that you can't cut out his fingernails for that reason. It's not a tzorach moed, because you don't have to grind such a big amount. Chol moed is a few days. However, Rav Yehuda Shar Mishkal Tufel Chamad Rechaya. Rav Yehuda permitted to take out the toenails of a chamor that's grinding a grindstone. To set up a grinding mill, to build one. Let's say there was a water wheel. You want to build a water irrigation ditch to turn the wheel. This is like a barn for the cattle. Rav Ashar Lusruk is Susya. You could comb your horses. Ulamivne akrafita. You could build a fence around the roof of your house, like a makeh. Ulamivne itztava, to build a bench. Rav Ashar Lamishkal Damal Behema B'chol Moed. He allowed the veterinarian to do phlebotomy on the animals on Chol Moed. I'll bring you Parisa to support your din. Makizin dam lebehema. You're allowed to blood from a behema on moed. Vein moed b'ful behema b'chol shel moed. You don't prevent the veterinarian of giving medicine to the animals in chol moed. Rav Ashar l'sachsuke kirmi. Rav permitted to sort of you're washing clothes, but shifshuf is like to scrub them through the laundry process. My time and Maisa had you do. It's not a Maisa Uman. It's not a professional thing. It's any person. Rashi says they would take kalim that were smooth, the handle, they would sort of, this is some kind of professional
Pleating.
Say again?
Pleating. Making pleats in the sleeve. That requires a skill. It's a work of a craft.
Tailor. Tailoring. My time and my summon, it requires an expert tailor. Amar of Amanda Matkil Ara. If you're removing stones from the dirt, now if it's for purposes of the ground, right, that you want to seed the ground, then that's usher. If it's for making space to put a granary there, adaita the bedori shari, adaita dara usher. Heichidami, how do you know what he's doing it for? Mulya b'mulya v'notza b'notza. He takes one clod of dirt and piles it high, piles it high, piles it high. So then he's making a granary. Shakal mulya v'shara b'notza. But if he's leveling everything out, then adaita dara, then he's currently doing it to prepare the ground for seeding. That you're not allowed to do cholamoy. Amrav Ayman dezachi zicha adaita ditzivi. Somebody's gathering wood. If he needs it for, let's say, firewood, shari. But if he's cleaning the ground, adaita da'ara aser, then it's prohibited. Echidami, how are you going to know? Shakil Ravavi v'shavki zutri. He takes the large ones, leaves the small ones, then it's clearly for firewood. Adaita ditzivi. Shakil Ravavi v'zutri. He's picking up everything. Adaita da'ara. He's cleaning the land for purposes of tilling the land. Amar Rav Haiman de Potach Maila Are. Person opens up his irrigation ditch to allow it to flow into his field. Again, it has to do with his das. If there's fish in the stream and he wants to trap some of the fish for Cholamoid, adaita de kavri, sure, it's permitted. But if he's irrigating the ditch, adaita de ara osir. Heichidami. How are you going to know what he's doing? Potach trebavi, chad miloi v'chad mitatoy, adaita de kavri. He opens up the gate from the top of the field, allowing the stream in. And then he opens up the gate at the bottom of the field to allow the stream to go out. Then it's clearly for the purpose of fish. But pasach chad bab, he only opens one gate, and he allows the water in, then it floods the whole field. And adaita da'ara, then it's clear he's doing it for the ground. That you're not allowed to do. Amrav Haiman de Pashach Dikla adaita de chevasa. Person is pruning his palm tree. If he wants to feed the animals, then he's allowed to do it. Adaita de dikla, but if he's doing it to allow the palm tree to grow better, that's usher. How are you going to know? Hechidami. Shakal kulam echad gisa. He trims all the leaves on one side of the tree, but leaves them all on the other side of the tree. That's clearly adaita de chevasa. That's for the animals. If he trims the leaves on both sides, adaita de dikla. It's clearly that he's doing it for the benefit of the palm tree, and it's prohibited. Amar Ravani Tami Tochlani Migizrayu Shari Mitzanayu Aser. You have dates. If you're removing them because maybe they're not, you want them to ripen, you want to eat them, then you can do it. But if it's to pickle them, because you want to eat them like months from now, that would be prohibited. Rav Papa Rakivan de Mitlai, he says no, it's permitted no matter what, because these dates could get worms. If you don't take them off the tree now, it's going to be a financial loss. And we have a din in Cholamoid, prakamatya ha'ovedami v'shari. If you have some kind of warehouse and you have some kind of things that you do for business, and it's gonna cause a financial loss, you're allowed to do it on Cholamoid. Amarava prakamatya koshu osir. You can't do regular business on Cholamoid. However, if you're going to lose your chance and you cannot sell the item otherwise, then you're allowed to do it. And the Gemara is going to give us many examples of this. He had a business deal that was worth 6,000 dinar. you know what? He didn't do the deal Chol Hamoed. He waited until after. V'zavne b'treisraf, he sold it for 12,000. This gives us the a reward that he was makpid not to do the work Chol Hamoed. He got reward that it was worth double after. Ravina Avamasik Zuzi Bivnei Akra Deshan V'sa. Ravina was collecting money owed to him from these people in Shan V'sa. Asla Kamein Ravashi Amali Malo Mezel Ayedna Alayu. Can I go collect now? It's Chol Hamoed. Because we can, other times it's hard to find them. Here, they're all here now. In fact, that's what Ravashi said. Kiven Dayidna Huda Mishkachas, you can find them now. And Biyomi Akrim Lo Mishkachas Prakamatya Ha'ovedam Vishari. It's like having a potential sustained loss of your schoira, and therefore you'd be permitted to collect your debt. Tanya Nami Gabi Avodah Zarah Ki Hai Gavna. Similar dinim regarding the dinei Avodah Zarah. Holchin li read shel nochrim.
Ernie?
Yeah.
We're going to 11, right?
Yeah, we're moving to 11.
Hold on a second.